Famcast Media Podcast Network.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, persons of all ages, welcome to the most exclusive group in the wrestling community. And now, your hosts, first, from Guadalajara, Puerto Rico, Macho Rodriguez, and his tag team partner from New Brunswick, Canada, God's gift, Tyler Taylor!
¿Cómo estamos, mi gente? Welcome to another edition of Must Love Wrestling. As your resident hosts of the show, the OGs, the talent, the Canadian Nightmare, Tyler Taylor, and what's that say there? Oh yeah, let's go Yankees. That's right. Macho Rodriguez here. Whoa.
Let's go Tigers.
Oh, Tigers. What is that about, guy? That's a weird thing.
It's funny, actually. I should have discussed this before the show, but let's do it now.
Mm-hmm.
I was looking through my Facebook memories this morning, and it's like 15 years ago, or this was 2011, whenever, 13 years ago, I guess. I had picked the Tigers to beat the Yankees, and a lot of people said a lot of things, and they did, and I was gloating, and you were so mad at me.
Yeah.
You were like,
that's what we do.
Way to be a friend.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of how you do it. I remember doing this the same thing. I was pretty happy when Jose Bautista got punched in the head by the Ranger. I thought he deserved it.
Because he hit a home run, so gotta beat him and then punch him in the head.
Well, that happened the year later. Come on now. That didn't happen the same game.
Yeah, they waited until their last time they faced him that year to beat him.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Sounds like
poor Jose Bautista, man. He had such a great career. Oh, we're gonna talk Brett today because there were some homages paid to him in the very first match. But why don't we jump right into Bad Blood before we get into it and break it down match by match? Tyler, why don't you tell me what you thought of the card in its entirety? What did you think? What were your positives, your negatives? What were your overall thinking of the match, of the pay-per-view?
I thought Punk and Drew had a really great opener, Hell in a Cell. I was really annoyed that it was the opener. I could do without. I think I've said before on here that I genuinely I can't think of a strong enough word. I despise the stabbing in professional wrestling. We don't need to stab one another. We don't need to use needles, staplers, none of that shit. Just like regular weapons are enough. Maybe the occasional flaming table. It really upsets me. Did you catch all that? Folks, it looks like no, he's looking, he's moving, he's blinking.
Did we lose you? Are you there?
I think we lost you. Did you catch all that?
Are you there? Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you catch all that? Did you catch my rant?
No, not. But okay. I'm sure our fans did. So
yeah, we were discussing stabbing and needles and staplers and other various non-traditional wrestling weapons.
Yeah, I agree. I got to be honest. I want to go back to the beginning because let me tell you something, man. The first thing I noticed about this was Punk's shirt was strategically placed over his tights. It was a shirt for tall for tall and big men. I noticed when he came out, and I was like, "Oh, this is interesting." And then when he took off his shirt, I noticed the color scheme of his tights. I also noticed his uh the heart on his tights, and I just thought to myself, I was like, man, this is such a great homage to the original match. I think the only Bad Blood match that you can say that has that had real like bad blood indications, like with Undertaker and the Heartbreak Kid Shawn Michaels, as I have the match playing on the background here. I genuinely loved it. I thought the way these two worked each other was just absolutely brilliant. I said this during our last pay-per-view review, that I thought that CM Punk and Drew McIntyre, they have to be fight forever guys. Like, I don't want them to kiss and make up. I don't want them to move on. I want Drew to kayfabe this until the end of time. I want CM Punk to kayfabe this until the end of time. Like, let's leave it this way. Let's leave it that they dislike each other and they're never ever going to change, because the way this came off was absolute hatred. And I said this on a rant earlier, and I really wanted to run it by you because you're a wrestling historian like myself. We really appreciate all of professional wrestling in its entirety. I think in 10 years time, this will be considered one of the most important wrestling matches ever. When I think of importance to the business, I think of Hulk Hogan and Andre the Giant. I think of Bret Hart and Steve Austin. I think of Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels in the Iron Man match. I think of Cena and CM Punk. I think of Hogan and Rock. These matches are so important to the business that, I mean, they're studied. They're studied all over the globe. And I wanted to hear your take on it, on the believability that this is like an important wrestling match to the history of pro wrestling.
Yeah, so as far as believability goes, I would say absolutely it was easy to believe that they both just hated each other and wanted to destroy one another. It's been easy to believe that throughout their whole feud. But other than that, I'm like, when you say important, I guess I'm not sure what you mean as far as like studying out on how to do how to do this Hell in a Cell, how to sell it, kind of thing.
Yeah,
Sure.
I mean, how you sell a story, how, like, when you look at professional
whole
wrestling
feud.
today, yes, the whole feud is just beautiful. And if this is the actual nail in the coffin, if this is actually, that's it, it's buried, like, for now, like, we're not going to get a rehashing of these two for a very long time. I absolutely believe that this will be what we saw in this match. So we saw at one point the sharpshooter put on Drew McIntyre with the bloody face, kind of like the homage to Bret and Steve Austin, because we know that feud was like guttural. We know that, like, the way, like, you put the S in front of Hitman, like all of those things, like Bret and Austin doing the double turn, like what it meant to the business, that people even, I mean, isn't that your favorite WrestleMania match ever?
It's my favorite. Well, it's probably my favorite wrestling match ever, honestly.
Well, there you go. Like, I think that's
So
what.
good. It's perfect.
Yes, exactly. I think that this match will be considered that. I'm gonna have to do it because I wouldn't be myself if I didn't do it. I would be lying to our fans and our listeners. Once again, I cannot believe how Triple H was able to put his differences and everything that Punk said about this company aside to do business, to make money. And the fact that the company that CM Punk left, well, they chose friendships over money. And I
To
just
be
can't
fair, he
believe
never
it.
attacked anyone backstage there.
He didn't, but I mean, the face of the company wrestled on this card at the end of and he has gone on record saying that Punk made his life harder. Punk made his life harder by one podcast. So he's done some pretty severe damage to this company, and they were able to forgive him. You know what I mean? Like, they were able to do so. And that's just kind of what I feel like. I mean, obviously, there's $185 million that are, staring us right in the face, that are telling us, like, hey, obviously somebody sees value in AEW, and I think AEW does a really good job of what they do. They know how to cater to their specific fan base. But there are two times tonight where I'm going to mention mistakes by AEW. One is in the beginning of this pay-per-view, and one is at the very end. And I just wanted to point that out because I feel like they've just made some massive mistakes. Massive mistakes.
And I have to say what I always have to say. You cannot assault your coworkers and just think nothing's going to happen.
I mean, WWE didn't fire Booker T and Batista. They didn't fire the Big Show and Great Khali.
When did these things happen? Did they happen in 2022, 2023, or did they happen
come
at a different time?
Come on now. Are you stating that it's just absolutely, that's the end all be all? You're telling me that there was nobody that wanted him gone from the company?
No, obviously not. They brought him back. They're like, yeah, this is what we're going to do. This is going to work. He said it's not going to work. Just let me go. But they wanted to bring him back and try to make it work.
I suppose. The one thing I wanted to say to you, I really wanted to run by you. Apparently, I have done some really extensive research on this today. The legends in attendance giving Punk and Drew a standing ovation was an impromptu moment that was started by Lillian Garcia. She jumped up because she genuinely thought the match was fantastic. And then Booker T followed, and then the rest of the legends stood up and gave them a standing ovation. And I thought that was beautiful. Yeah, I thought that was beautiful, that it wasn't a planned moment, that it was actually like hey, man, we feel that this match warrants our just praise, being that we're what we are in the business. And speaking of all of the wrestlers that were there in attendance, and we won't go through all of them, guys, you can Google that stuff. Plus, I don't have the list here, so I would just be like disingenuous by trying to tell you the list. I think it's really cool that the legends gave them a standing ovation. I felt like I had to give them a standing ovation. Me and Jordan, we were watching this while it was happening, and I just couldn't believe what I was watching. It was beautiful.
I guess it didn't. I mean, I thought it was great, but I mean, it just wasn't like a life-changing experience for me. I don't know.
Oh, okay. I mean, yeah. I mean, I really, really enjoyed the match.
I think I was annoyed enough at the placement of the match and the stabbing that it took away from me.
Okay. I mean, for me, it was definitely. I have to be very blunt and clear here. The match made me a little emotional. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I felt like I was watching history. I felt like when my dad told me he watched Hulk and Andre at WrestleMania 3. Like I really felt like I am so lucky. And my daughter is 2 years old and she's watching wrestling with me. And yeah, she probably shouldn't be watching the blood, but she doesn't fully get it. But I have a picture of her now watching the television from behind and being able to show her that, like I was able to show Arthur the first time he watched Punk and John Cena. He wasn't alive for it, but when I first showed him the match, he was like studying it. Like it's a TikTok video I have. It's one of my first ones. He's just sitting there like in attention, like he's in a classroom. And it was just, that's what I felt like I was watching yesterday. I was genuinely emotional. Like I kept getting like worked up about it. And I was like, this is beautiful. This is like one of those matches. I felt like the CM Punk guy in the AEW audience. That's what I felt like yesterday.
Well, right. And like, as I said to you about one of the other matches that we'll talk about later, that's what matters, man.
Yes.
Those moments, that's what matters. Because at the end of the day, this is about having fun and enjoying it and feeling things. So
yes,
that's how it made you feel. That's great. I do have to say one other thing, and unfortunately it is a negative. I 1000% think the wrong guy won.
Really? Well, why don't you speak to that before we jump into Bayley and the Queen, Nia Jax?
Because CM Punk is a made man.
Mm-hmm.
He does not need to win a feud with Drew McIntyre to be a made man. He already is.
Mm-hmm.
And Drew McIntyre is getting there, but it would have been huge for his career, for his persona, to say that he, beat CM Punk 2 out of 3 or whatever. He won the feud. He got the last laugh.
Yes.
And I just think it's more important to it would have meant more for him to win.
Okay. I mean, yeah, I have to agree with you based on the fact that I have to stick to my guns. I predicted all heels to win this premium live event. I did not expect. I was wrong. like I was wrong all but the Nia match. I genuinely
You
thought.
Really?
Yeah, we'll talk about it. Yep. I have my specific person that I thought was going to take the pin. Everything. I had a specific thing in mind for the main event.
Not that one. I just never in a million years thought that Balor was beating Priest.
Oh well, we'll talk about that. We have a couple matches till we get there, but yeah. So I gotta say I agree with you. I thought CM Punk should have shouldn't have won this match, but as our friend of the podcast, Patty Reekin, has stated, he is very sure that we are getting Gunther versus CM Punk at Survivor Series, and if that's what's happening, then you kind of need Punk to go in there strong. So
man, I hope so, because otherwise that would be 3 pay-per-views in a row without a title match or premium live events, whatever you want to call it. Because we know now Crown Jewel doesn't have one.
We'll talk. They technically do, but whatever.
Yeah, we'll talk about it.
We'll talk about that abomination of a championship when we get there.
Oh my God.
So yeah, I mean, yeah, we didn't expect this. I gotta tell you, guys here on the podcast, Tyler does a cheeseburger scale, and I do an empanada scale. So Tyler, in your cheeseburger scale, what would you rate this match? Let's say out of 5. We'll do the Dave Meltzer. We'll do 5. 4.5. Okay.
4.5. Yeah. 4 3/4
man.
even.
I'm going to steal a line from Kenny Omega on his live stream. This match broke my brain, and I'm gonna give it out of 5. I'm gonna give it 6 empanadas because I love this match that much. And for those of you that don't know, yep. Okay. It's just like the 5-star when somebody gets a 6-star rating. That's kind of how I feel about it. But yes, for those of you that don't understand the joke, Kenny Omega on one of his first live streams on Twitch talking about professional wrestling said that he broke Dave Meltzer's brain and he just hands out 5-star matches like they're candy. Now getting back to this show here, let's jump into the match that you and I have a difference of opinion on, but clearly I think for me it's more of an emotional side of it because of what I witnessed in my own household. But as I'm watching the match now, Tyler, you had some negative thoughts about Bayley versus Nia. Why don't you tell me what exactly you didn't like, and just if there's anything you did like, why don't you give me a heads up there?
Yeah, I mean, I think for the most part they work like a solid standard match, but I don't like the word, so I'm not gonna use the word botch, which I guess I just did. Mm-hmm. There's one where Bayley has Nia up for a powerbomb, and Nia tries to do like a hurricanrana, and Bayley takes the weirdest bump ever.
Yep. She oversells it. Yep, it kind of looked like Shawn Michaels versus Hogan. Which
what I said was, well, realistically, I guess in a real fight, maybe that's what would have happened. Mm-hmm. But it didn't look good. And then the bonsai drop, just, I don't know what exactly it was. It just looked bad.
Okay.
Like it wasn't believable that she connected or whatever.
Got it.
Also, I got the whole cash-in thing.
Oh, okay.
Was odd. I mean, I think what was supposed to happen happened, but it would have been a better way to go to have had her accidentally cash in.
Okay. Yeah, I
Like,
kind
because
of
she
agree
didn't,
there.
because I don't think she ever intended on actually cashing in. Like, I thought she was at first, but then when she
Mhm.
goes to take the briefcase back, it's like, oh, she was never going to do it in the end at all. And then if they had accidentally done it, it would have been interesting.
Yeah. I mean, so what I mean by emotional is watching this with my kids. It was very much I think Naya has done such a great job in this second run of her WWE career that she doesn't I don't think WWE realizes what she means to fans as a whole. For Bailey to kind of be that kid-friendly wrestler who I love the fact that Tiffany called her Pam, like used her real name, almost like, trying to bring out the real person and stuff like that.
Not her real name. I thought that was like a pet name that Sasha had for her.
No, her real name is Pam. And then yeah, so when I watched it, I was shocked that my kids started chanting Naya. Like, let's go Naya. And I was like, oh my God, like she's the heel in this. Like, these are my babies. These are little macho babies. Like,
Yeah.
I was like, they are rooting for the heel. And I mean, obviously, Naya, this second run has been spectacular. She's been a phenomenal heel. Everything Bailey said on Friday was right. She has been a dominant champion. She's been presented really well. She sells a lot better. She's good on the mic, good to great, honestly. Like she just comes off as like I think the way she came off, and I don't want to speak about I don't want to change the subject. I just want to point it out for just a second, if that's okay. When she explained herself for not getting vaccinated, right? I remember like the realness in her explanation. Like it was like, this is genuinely me. This is how I feel. Like, deal with it. You don't like it, who cares? Right. And that's kind of how I feel like her character is portrayed. And you and I talk about this a lot. We've talked about it in private conversations. The best version of a character is what Stone Cold Steve Austin said. Like, Stone Cold worked because he was Steve Williams turned up. That's what it was.
Right.
And that's what I feel like Naya is. Naya is what she is. She's that in real life, and this is who she is. She believes she's better than everybody else. She believes she's important to the business. She knows what she means to the business, and it comes off that way. And she does a really great job. And I'm just happy she's back. I'm happy she's the champ, and I'm really enjoying this whole thing with her and Tiffany because we're gonna have a good payoff.
Yeah. Hopefully,
Yeah.
it's better than the payoff between her and Alexa.
Oh, yeah. Some people just aren't meant to work together. I think that's it.
Yeah.
The one
Yeah,
thing,
she's done a great job
yeah.
with this run.
Mhm.
Certainly much improved. Took all the. That's one thing you can say is she may think she's the best or whatever, but she took all the criticism that she's had and she worked on it and made it better. And now she's a star.
Yes, she definitely is. I mean, it comes off, yeah, it comes off as really good, and not to sound repetitive, but yeah, I enjoyed what she had. This match to me wasn't as bad as the next women's match. I was able to take a screenshot of a couple of different wrestling sites that apparently agreed. There's a scale that I guess wrestling matches are rated, and we'll talk about it later on how low that match was actually rated, which I think is pretty harsh for a pay per view that I think was almost a perfect card. But yeah, I would have to
Wow.
say what?
We just do not agree about the show at all.
Oh, okay, all right. Well,
I
yeah. I
thought it
mean, I
was
thought.
easily the worst of the year.
Oh wow. Okay. No, we definitely disagree. I thought this was one of the best. I thought it started off really well. I thought it started off with a banger, and I thought the second match was exactly what it needed to be. It was a perfect palate cleanser to get us ready for the rest of the show. I think what really brought us down was Rhea versus Liv, but we'll talk about that in a little bit.
Okay.
So on to the next. Well, before we go over, I'd say I'd have to give this a 3 empanadas out of 5. What about you? What would you give it on a cheeseburger scale?
2.5 to 3.
Okay.
I just don't know if I can finish that third one.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
I gotcha. Why don't we jump into the match that I guess we both saw differently? I will explain why I thought Finn was going to win this match going away. I'm not even joking. I'm not saying this as like to make fun of Finn. I genuinely thought that this was Finn Balor's time. I was like, this is a new character. He has not been presented this way. He is vicious. He is horrible. It's the best promo work I've seen from him in a ever. I thought he came off as like vindictive, and I did not see Damian winning this because I thought this feud was going to go a couple of pay-per-views. And now I just don't know how you do that because you already have Damian win. Like you already have him won. Like I don't understand. How's it work? Why did you think that Damian was going to win?
Because Finn never wins. Like,
okay, so
when
for
was the
you,
last
you're
time
like
he won on a. When was the last time he won though? Like it was the match with Edge, I think.
Yeah, I mean the I Quit match.
Yeah, that was 2022. Like,
yeah, I mean, so there is definitely this bias in wrestling fans where they believe that Triple H has his guys. He loves specific wrestlers and they are going to be presented really well. They're going to be booked properly. And Finn has always kind of been one of those guys that people thought.
yeah, he's one of them. So what the hell?
Yeah, I mean, he presented him really well. He called him money when he was in NXT, the demon character, everything. Yeah, I don't know where you go from here.
I made the comment last night that I think he either needs to just be in NXT, where because on the main roster he's not big enough, he's not strong enough, he's not going to be booked like that because he's again there's monsters or there's dinosaurs roaming again. You know what I mean? So either put him there or let him go to AEW, where again I think that he would be, in that group with. I don't want to mention his name because you're going to say something smart.
With who?
With guys like Will and Ricochet and Takeshita and Jay White, and
this is going to be a long.
He would be presented on that level.
Well, I think he's better than Will Ospreay, but we can talk about Ospreay and Ricochet after this because we can touch on it like in our final thoughts. But yeah, I mean, I agree with you, but I think I've said this to you before. I think right now what wrestling fans want is the everyday guy. They don't want behemoths. They don't want monsters.
Well, that's interesting.
Wrestling fans and the bookers and the people writing for the show are completely different people. I think fans want the Daniel Bryan. They want the guy that when they go to the grocery store, oh, that guy's a professional wrestler. Dude, he looks just like me. I'm backing him up because he's me. Like I could do this. And it makes people happy. That's why I think Kevin Owens has been so over because a lot of people see him and they're like, oh yeah, he looks like a dude that's here that I can be like. And I think that's one of those things where it's like if every single wrestler looks like your everyday man, then it takes away from those special talents. Like where are the big dudes? Like you have guys like Randy, like Gunter. Those guys are huge. And then like you have guys like Sammy who he looks like an everyday man. You know what I mean? He's like the Foley of this world.
Yeah, but I bet if you saw him like really up close, He's probably a big dude.
Yeah. Yeah, no. I've seen Sammy in person, and he's definitely taller. Like, he's taller than KO. So yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things. Like, I get it. It's just like I it used to be special. It used to be special when these guys moved up. Like a guy like Shawn Michaels, like he wasn't as big as Diesel, like Psycho Sid. He wasn't as big as British Bulldog. He wasn't as big as some of these guys. And then when Shawn Michaels came up and he started rocking everybody and he started being the best wrestler on the planet or the best wrestler ever, right? It was like, oh man, it's he's just so good. Like, it doesn't matter his size. He's just unbelievable. He's incredible.
Crazy
But
thing
now,
is he was like 6'2", 220 at that time.
yeah, I mean, if you say he's 6'2", that's fine. But I've stood right next to him, and I'm 5'10". He's not taller than me. So Pat
That's
is
what they bill him as.
5'9". Yeah, Pat is 5'9", and Pat has a beautiful photo of him and Shawn Michaels, and they're probably the same height.
Okay, well they bill him as 6'2". I don't know.
Okay.
I've never had the privilege.
Okay. Well, I mean, you get to have a conversation with a wrestler every single week. So, what I will say is, So what I will say is, I just really believe that, that's what people want to see. They just want to see your everyday man, and that's why I think guys like Balor just don't get over anymore, because it's not special. When Balor first came in, it was super special. It was like, yes, like when he beat Seth Rollins, man, if he doesn't get injured, his career is completely different right now.
Yeah, he is not 6'2".
Yeah, absolutely. And I know, I believe he's billed at 5'10" and everything.
Yeah, and he is not that either.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, I mean, maybe you're right.
But
It's the land of the behemoths again, and maybe that's who they want to see.
Yeah, he's 5'8" at best.
Yeah. I mean, Damian was booked like, I don't remember the last time a babyface was booked like this. Dude, he took 4 coup de grace, 2 on his body and 2 on the back of his neck. And then he just choke slam. Like, he gave a south of heaven. Like, he made the coup de grace look worse than KO and Cody made the Stunner and the Crossroads look at their match. Like, he made the coup de grace look.
Seemed like they were glancing blows though too.
I suppose it was just like they made Damian look like a complete monster, and I was like, wow, I did not expect this. Like, I was shocked at all of it.
Good match.
Yeah, they usually do.
I thought it was a really good match. I like their takeover match from the Takeover in Your House as well. Yeah. Oh, they had a really good match. I thought it was obvious Damian was winning.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, I would say I'd give this a good. I'm gonna give this a 4 out of 5 empanadas. I was happy with the actual wrestling match. I was happy with all of it.
Mm-hmm.
I was just shocked at the ending.
Yep. 4 cheeseburgers.
Okay. All right. Well, let's move on to quite possibly the most disappointing match in Rhea Ripley's career. I don't think Liv holds all the blame for this. I think this was supposed to be quirky, but just it was too much for me. Like, I did not enjoy this match as a whole. I thought it was all theatrical, and like, I enjoy watching WWE because WWE gives me a movie. Like Triple H said it best at the end of the press conference. Like, when you watch a movie, it's either good or bad. That's how it is for you. And that's kind of how I feel. And there's a beginning, a middle, and an end. And I thought that this was the portion of the movie that I could have done without. As Mikey from the Biconics actually said to me in a text last night, this match was perfect for Monday Night Raw, but it was not a PLE match.
Okay, that's fair. I don't know. I didn't think it was that bad. I didn't think it was particularly anything to write home about. I just thought it happened.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And I guess maybe we've come to expect more from these two, and so yeah, it had the weird stip with Dom.
Mm.
And then
the Dom part I thought was the best. Oh my god, I could not believe he did that.
I was a little worried about him because he could seriously get twisted up and hurt something
That-
real bad.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
It
Cage,
was fine. It was fine.
it was fine. Yes, I love that. That is Tyler's catchphrase for when you know that he is just trying not to poo-poo an entire match. So cage
I was just
match,
thinking I didn't need it.
yeah, agreed. So cage match rates wrestling matches. They also keep stats like how many times a worker's worked another worker, how many times someone has won a specific match, how many times the actual records. They keep the actual records and they rate matches on a 10-point rating. This was the lowest women's match that they've done in the past 10 years with a 3.5 out of 10.
The lowest they've done is a 3.5 out of 10.
In the past 10 years, yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah. 10 years or 5 years? Hold on. Let me make sure. Let me make sure. I have it big. 10 years. The lowest rated women's match in the past 10 years. And that is
Then I've got to
wild.
say they've been awfully generous with some ratings.
Well, maybe I think what really brought this down, as we'll talk about it now, is the ending of the match was really convoluted. WWE, they messed up their own thing. They had two different portions of their Twitter interactions that actually stated, one stated that Rhea Ripley won the match by disqualification. The other stated that they even posted a picture of Liv and said, and still, like, she won the match. Like, they had it ready to go. Like, Liv won. I believe the people that talk about this wrestling stuff outside of the actual WWE stated that the finish of the match was supposed to be Raquel beating up Rhea Ripley without the ref seeing and taking Liv and putting her on top of the ref. Raquel did her job. Apparently, she came out too early. The ref saw it, and to not insult the intelligence of the fans in attendance because he saw Raquel, he called for the bell.
Makes sense.
Yeah. It was pretty bad, but obviously Liv portrayed exactly what she was supposed to portray. And then after, with the press conference and everything, she stated that she won this match. She did also give us some clues that Raquel Rodriguez is fully healthy. She's ready to play. As she stated, she's ready to play. She once again stated Rhea's bigger than her. Rhea's stronger than her, but she's smarter than Rhea. But she said, you know who's bigger and stronger than Rhea? Her best friend, Raquel. So clearly this is going to be the newest version of the two dudes with attitude, or most recently in WWE, this is going to be AJ Lee and Tamina Snuka. So hopefully this will be a little bit better than that. Tamina's a pro's pro. AJ is better than everybody not named Rhea at literally everything. So, but I love the fact that Liv is doing her best to pull AJ out of retirement. So let's get that going, because AJ did respond to her earlier today and said that she's very persuasive. So we'll see what happens there.
Okay.
Yeah. I believe Liv said her dream match is her and Dom versus Punk and AJ. So let's see where that goes. I would prefer to see her and Finn versus Punk and AJ, because I think she has
That would be fun.
longer. Yeah, I think she has a better relationship with Finn, but I think the Dom thing is that he's her boyfriend and everything, and that's the way it's supposed to be portrayed. I'm giving this a 2 empanadas out of 5. I wasn't happy with this match at all.
Yeah, it's probably 2.5.
Yeah.
It just wasn't anything special. It happened.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't offended by it, but like
Mm-hmm.
it was there. I felt like that for most of the show. Honestly, it was there.
Yeah.
I was entertained. Like even saying it's when I said it's the worst show of the year, like it's still above average compared to what I've had for years. Like,
yeah. You got a fan here in our chat says, Talent, please, I'm begging you, fix that damn bit of hair sticking up and stressing me out so much. He said, I took a ton of blood
If
pressure
if if
pills to calm
only
down.
if
If
only I
only.
could. It's a bit unruly. It got wet and then it dried.
Yeah. Universal here saying I like 3 out of 5 matches from Bad Blood. I'm more of the mindset that I liked 4 out of 5. Liv and Rhea is the only match I didn't really enjoy. I liked all the other matches. I'm curious to know if you want to tell us here in the chat, Universal, what are the 2 matches that you dislike? That would be we'd love to hear that. Tyler, what about you? Are you a 5 out of 5, 4 out of 5, 3 out of 5? What do you have?
Yeah, it's probably 3, honestly.
3, okay. From the dungeon here says Raquel Rodriguez came back and not even in shape. I gotta say, I agree with you. Her back is usually massive, and she usually looks like burly and like she's yoked, and she did not look like she. It was kind of like the Sheamus thing, but we're not here to shame people. Like, obviously, Raquel's dealing with a specific ailment. I don't quite know the name of it, but I know it's a skin disorder. So maybe it was just hard for her to work out. I think it was very painful what she was dealing with. So I don't want to completely jump right
Geez.
off the bat
Yeah.
into that. Yeah, because she had like some red blotches and everything all over her face and stuff. But I'm just happy that she's back. Clearly, I'm a fan of Raquel. Tyler and I have gone back and forth about this. You're not the biggest fan of her. I genuinely enjoy her work. I'm excited to see her back. I think she's an exceptional talent, and I love her as a heel. I think her NXT Raquel Gonzalez character was awesome. So if that's the version we get here, that we're in for a fucking treat. We're in for a treat.
Right. And I agree with that. That's what was one of my main criticisms is she wasn't presented like that on the main roster. And they didn't give
Yeah.
us a chance. Like, they never got her over before they put her in the main title picture. And it was like, okay, why are we supposed to care about this?
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you. They kind of just threw her in there, and I think they just wanted to do like, a big girl versus a big girl, like, kind of have like that Keith Lee versus Samoa Joe, like the meat slapping meat type of situation, or like the
Yeah.
Bronson Reed versus Braun Strowman, and it just didn't really present that well because we knew that Raquel was never going to beat Rhea. This is interesting. AJ Lee is overrated. I'm curious, D. What do you believe makes her overrated? Because I think she's one of the best promos in the history of professional wrestling, like in terms of like what the way she presents herself. I think in the ring she's super underrated, and her character is awesome. I mean, she developed her finisher in the middle of a match. I mean, and she's a Jersey girl like us. What the hell's going on here from the dungeon? You got to rep Jersey. You got to rep Jersey. I came around to Liv Morgan. I predicted her to win this match. I came around to this character. Best work that she's ever done. Listen, she's a Chicago girl because she lives there now, but she grew up in Union City, New Jersey, bro. She's from Union City. She went to the same path mark that we went to next to Weehawken. So come on now. She's a Jersey girl. You take
I
the
didn't understand
Jersey
a
out of the
word of
girl.
that
Well,
conversation.
you're from Canada. You don't get it. You don't get it. But anyway, let's jump into the main event of the evening, which saw the return of the Tribal Chief. Oh, you know what? Before we talk about that, why don't we talk about Triple H's announcement? It was going rampant on Twitter. Everyone was losing their minds thinking we were going to finally get the announcement for the mid-card women's championship. And instead,
That's what I thought it was too.
yeah, instead we were given the main event of Crown Jewel, which is Gunther, as long as he beats Sammy on Monday night, versus Cody Rhodes. And the winner of those two, because their championship matches will not be on the line, will be the Crown Jewel champion. Tyler, thoughts on Gunther versus Cody, and thoughts on that abomination of a championship belt?
The match itself should be, pretty good. I got no problem with that match, but that matter of fact, thinking back to the Royal Rumble, I'm actually pretty excited.
Yes, absolutely.
But it kind of does.
Yeah, it's weird, right? It does. It looks.
Except it's
It looks.
green. Why is
Yeah,
it green?
I don't know. That's just I guess the colors for over there. Yes, the NXT championship looks way better. Yeah, the NXT championship
So
has
is the
just
new
gotten.
IC title.
Oh yeah. Can you believe that it's the same exact championship but just
Just
with
a
blue?
highlight. Yeah.
And that blue makes it beautiful. I think that blue makes that title look better than the Ken Shamrock Intercontinental Championship.
Which was you
The
like that
second
one better
version.
than the classic?
No. The classic is number one.
Yeah,
The
for
the one that
sure.
Cody brought back with the white strap, the one
Yes.
Ultimate Warrior kept changing the color straps. That's the best Intercontinental Championship we've ever got. I don't know
Goldust got
why
the
we
gold
got that.
strap.
Yes, I don't know why we got that championship and then they took it away from us. Didn't Razor Ramon have a purple strap?
He may have at one point, or was that Warrior?
Warrior
I
had
know
definitely.
Sean had the white one. Hunter had the black one.
Yes.
Or did he have the white
Hunter,
one?
Stone Cold, The Rock, they all had the black one.
Did Mero have the black one, or did he have the white one? Because Hunter beat Mero for the title.
Mark Mero had the black one. Yeah, Mark Mero had the black one. Yeah.
Okay.
I believe the white one. I believe Cody brought back the white one when he pulled it out of the
I was a big
bag.
Mark Mero fan at that time.
Oh, dude, which version? Wildman or the boxer?
Wildman,
Marvelous. Yeah. Okay.
Marvelous. Like when I watch it now, like I feel like that was such a good character. I don't know why it didn't get more over.
I don't know. I wish I knew more about Mark Mero because he was special, man. I don't know why he just didn't move up.
He's a great dude.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, personally, I think that they kind of fumbled a little bit. I don't want to be too marky here, but having a mid-card title for the women, if you're not going to have that on the main roster, then bring Kalani Jordan to the main roster and have that North American Championship for the women be the mid-card title for all three television shows.
Yeah, because I did. That's what I thought it was going to be as well, like a women's
Yeah.
intercontinental or whatever.
Yeah, that would have been awesome, and I would have loved to have seen who they would have booked to be the first mid-card, like, IC champ. I feel like that would have been I don't know if you're a big fan of hers, but I think Bayley would have been perfect for that because Bayley's, like, a true historian for, like, the business, and she loves the business, and you could tell by the way she talks about it, like, she knows what the significance of the Intercontinental Championship.
Yeah, she would be perfect, like to me, she's sort of like becoming that, you can throw her in any spot and she's not gonna. She's like a backup quarterback that you can throw in there and she's not gonna lose you the game.
She's absolutely not going to do that. She is really, really good. She carried a lot of. Yeah. I mean, Flacco got really close to coming back and winning that game today.
I understand
he was exceptional.
what a compliment that is coming from me.
Yeah.
I have some sort of weird platonic love affair with Joe Flacco.
Well, that's cool. I love it. I mean, he's played really well so far, dating back to last year.
It's wrestling related, so I got to tell you this, and our listeners. I bet his over 1.5 TDs today.
Okay.
And as I hit send, I sang, "I believe in Joe Flacco."
Love it. Love it. Had to give you the clap. I'd turn around right now, but yeah, it just wouldn't work. So
it wouldn't work.
Yeah. So why don't we jump right into the main event of the evening, which was the Bloodline Jacob Fatu, and the third main event since WrestleMania for Solo on a premium live event versus the Tribal Chief, the OTC, Roman Reigns, and the American Nightmare, the WWE Undisputed Champion, Cody Rhodes. Tyler, before we start breaking down this match and actually talk about the finish and all that, what did you think of the pairings? What did you think of the match? How did you feel about it in its entirety here?
So, I don't hate the pairings. I think it's interesting.
Okay.
I always think it's kind of interesting when they do something like that. Like, excuse me.
Oh,
They've done things like team up Cena and HBK against like the tag champs or whatever. And it's always an interesting dichotomy.
okay.
I've already said basically that I was annoyed that this was the main event.
Okay.
I think anytime you do Hell in a Cell, that should be the main event. Sorry,
Agreed.
not sorry.
Nope, I agree with you. 100%.
The presentation was obviously very what's the word? Over the top.
Okay.
But I mean, not in a bad way, just there was a lot of pomp and circumstance and there was a lot.
Yeah. I mean, personally, when I watched this match, I love the way Roman was taken out of it. I love the camera angle of having Roman Reigns kind of dropped at the perfect time that
Right.
Cody's going to tag him, and it looks like he jumped down and screwed Cody. I
Yeah.
love that without
We
us
both said
knowing that it
that.
was. Yeah, that was really, really good. I love that we got a little bit of a tease of Roman Reigns as Jacob, but still kind of have Jacob kind of get that one up on Roman because then it keeps that special for later. Roman's facial expressions as he was like looking at Solo and Jacob and kind of telling them like this is still my yard without actually saying it because he's not the big dog anymore. But I really enjoyed this match. I thought it was brilliant. Obviously, Solo feels out of place during this, but the crowd was relentless. I mean, I don't remember the last time we got a "You Can't Wrestle" chant to a professional wrestler in either company. That crowd yesterday was relentless. They were not, I don't know what kind of heat. I know that there is a specific, they talked about it on the Vince McMahon special, which we will jump back into part 2 and talking about episodes 4, 5, and 6 on Tuesday night, guys, at 8:30. If you want to jump on and watch that with us, it'll be me, Patty, Rican, Fernando, and the talent going over the last 3 episodes of the McMahon doc. But jumping back into this, in that special, they actually tell us, that there is a such thing as too much heat. And we did get, I felt like, too much heat for Solo. I don't know what he did to the WWE universe for them to chant "You Can't Wrestle," but I haven't heard something like that in a very long time.
That wasn't what I thought they were chanting.
What did you think they were chanting?
I thought they were chanting something naughty. That's why I was surprised that it was not getting muted.
Yeah, no, they were chanting "You Can't Wrestle." Yeah,
I thought they were chanting "Fuck you, Solo."
Oh, they chanted that as well. That's what I'm saying. They chanted multiple things. Like he's probably the most hated man in WWE right now.
Well, I thought that was because he came in, like Roman was he came in the ring, Roman got in, and then he got out, and they.
Yeah, I mean there is normal in ring heat, but I would definitely yes, my guy. Mr. Universal, we went over some of your questions. You never answered us. We actually asked you what were your 2 matches that you disliked out of the 5. Yes, we did answer some of your questions. Sorry about that, guys. We're trying our best. We did have the full screen on, but now we are back to normal here and we're able to see all of your stuff. So just send us your questions and we'll definitely pop them up on the screen and talk about them. We appreciate the engagement. So for me, I didn't think Solo deserved some of the hate he got. I'm not particularly a fan of Solo. I know my son is a big fan of Solo. He loves him. I not a fan of his. I don't think he's anything like Umaga. I know he's portrayed that way. I don't think he is. For me, he's like Scrappy Doo in the Scooby Gang, where like he's got a big bark, but he doesn't have a big bite. I never really bought him as that. I always loved the Jey Uso as the enforcer of the group. I think
I
Jey
don't think I'd
Uso is
want to run into
presented.
him in a dark alley, but sure.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, we're talking about that stuff, but we're talking about professional wrestling. For me, I never really bought it. Roman looked phenomenal. Him and Cody actually they pulled off this teamwork really, really well. Obviously, we see Jacob and Cody with a massive spot as Cody gives that point to Roman saying, I'm doing this for you, takes out Jacob. Jacob still looks like a monster, comes into the ring, and him and Solo beat the crap out of Roman. And just when you think as Solo is tearing him down, as he's tearing him down, we see the return of Jey Uso, and he super kicks both the Gorillas of Destiny, and Roman spears Solo for the 1, 2, 3. Now we see a great celebration between Roman, Jimmy, as they hug, they embrace, and the crowd went absolutely bananas for it. Uh, Tyler, what did you think of this return? And then after that, we'll answer Universal's question here because he has the Priest and Liv match as his two least favorite matches. So I definitely agree with one of those, but not the other one.
Right. Yeah, it was cool to see Jimmy come back and get this thing started along the road to war. I'd say probably War Games.
Yeah, absolutely.
I thought the match was okay.
Wow.
It was what it was. I didn't think it was anything special.
Whoa.
Wow.
Lot of things to say there.
I mean, I'm not a fan of two of the guys like at all, and yeah.
Well, I thought
To me, it was what it
Roman.
was.
I mean, I thought Roman looked spectacular. He obviously was the class of the match, with Jacob being a close second.
Sure.
Roman being probably the best wrestler walking the planet today. Just in all inclusive of like everything what a professional wrestler is supposed to be right now. He is clearly to me the best version of what a professional wrestler is supposed to be. If you include entertainment and you include storytelling and you include the in-ring ability, Roman is he's just awesome. I genuinely feel that way. I thought Jacob he's the future. I love that he's 32 years old. So by the time he gets to be Cody and Roman's age, he's probably going to be a multiple time world champion. Just multiple time
he's
world
phenomenal.
champion. Yeah. So I love it. I love his story. I love how he is just absolutely like how he was in prison, and then he saw the Usos in prison and then decided this is what I want to be with my life, and then was able to just have a complete turnaround and make this into his special career. There was a moment yesterday when I got a little weepy-eyed where he was turned towards the fans and he was looking at a jam-packed arena. And the only thing in my mind was, dude, this guy was in prison a couple of years ago, and he told himself in prison, like, I'm going to be a professional wrestler. I'm going to go work for this big ass company. And now he's probably everybody's favorite non-main eventer right now. Like, I think his shirt is a sellout. Whenever it's at a live event, people buy that shit. Like the Samoan Werewolf he has become a lot of people's favorite. He looks great. It reminds me a lot of the Shield Roman Reigns, because people loved that before CM Punk's podcast. People loved that Roman, and that's what this reminds me of. So I think that they're going to slow roll this because Triple H is all about slow rolling it. I love it. Tyler, what part of Canada are you from? You want to say the name because I always get it wrong?
I'm from New Brunswick.
New Brunswick. And where's that next to?
So it is a province that borders Maine.
All right, lobster.
If you've ever heard of Halifax, which a lot of people have down here, we're right next to the province that's in. We're about 3 hours from there.
Okay, cool.
About 8 hours from Boston.
Okay, well, fuck Boston. But yeah, so
I agree.
yeah, yep. So after Roman and Jimmy are celebrating and they're walking up the ramp, the bloodline jumps Cody. And Jimmy reminds Roman, you gave him your word, but you're my OTC. I'm going to do what you do. Roman kind of gives the look around and they go back. They take out the bloodline. He picks up the belt and he very respectfully gives the belt back to Cody, like, acknowledging that Cody is the champ. I love that. I love the fact that Roman did that. He didn't bury Cody. He didn't make Cody look bad. He just gives him the belt out of just a sign of respect. Like, here you go. And then right as Cody lifts the belt and they're going to have their classic stare down, we have The Rock's music hit in the Maritimes. What's that, Tyler?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Well, there
There's
you go.
New Brunswick, Nova Scotia, and Prince Edward Island are considered the maritime provinces.
Love it. I love it. Let's get some people from all over the world. Let's get them in here, man. Let's get some Canadians following. We got the Canadian-Rican connection. I love it. I love it. I love it. That's great, man.
So
This
now
is
I'm
cool.
just curious: is this someone I know?
Oh, that's a great
Who
That's
is
a great
looking at
question.
me with this funky ass hair that I can't control?
Yeah,
I'm
I
about
mean
to
that
just
would be
cut. I'm
great.
about to just grab some scissors and cut it off. If we're being
No,
honest,
no. It looks good. It looks good. You look like Alfalfa from the Little Rascals. So The Rock
I
comes
was
back
thinking like
out.
Red Rooster.
Oh, all right. Terry Taylor's pretty popular with the boys, except for Seth Rollins. So yeah, we have oh my god, this fucking jerk. I'll post that in 1 minute. Just give me a second, D, so I can get rid of through the rest of this pay-per-view. So then The Rock comes out, and there are some people speculating that his 3 count could be 2 different things as he looks at Cody before he kind of gives the throat slashing. It could be either a reminding Cody that he beat him 1, 2, 3 in the middle of the ring, or it can be that this is the third and final time that Cody has disrespected the final boss. 1, being stealing his main event. 2, being taking the title from his family. And 3, being having his family member betray the tribe. Tyler, if
So
either of those are correct, how do you feel about the final boss coming back and immediately going after Cody Rhodes?
who stole whose main event?
Cody stole The Rock's main event.
The Rock tried to steal Cody's main event.
Yeah, we
And
disagree
Cody
on that because
stole it back.
yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, you win the
I'm gonna
main event WrestleMania. It's just how it works. Sorry.
yeah, it doesn't matter what happens. Okay. Here we go. Baptist Bulldog. Yeah, he did beat him 1, 2, 3. Absolutely correct. This whole Cody nonsense, it's all Tony Khan's fault.
Pay him. Pay that man his money.
This is all Tony Khan's fault because Cody should be in the company that he created. He should be over there. He should have been happy.
Elaborate.
I just did. Are you paying attention there?
No, I'm sorry. I was too busy comparing you to our co-host
to Fernando
on Tuesday nights.
Yeah. Listen. Cody created AEW. Him and the Bucks and Kenny Omega and Tony Khan, they all did it together. He should be over there. He shouldn't even be bothering it. Roman Reigns is right. He's in his way in life. He's just in his way in life. He shouldn't even be in WWE. He should be over there in Jacksonville. Like, he should be the face of that company. He should be helping that company. But, getting back to this, here we go. This jerk off here. Does Universal think Brett screwed himself in Montreal? My Lord, Universal, you're gonna have to answer.
I was in Montreal recently in the airport, and they actually have a statue, but it's like animatronic, and it's Bret Hart. He's in the sharpshooter. Shawn Michaels is
listen to you.
He's got the arm and he's tapping out.
Yeah, listen, Universal, you can confirm or deny that. That's definitely not true. Don't mean to pull a Chandler Bing voice out of there, but that's definitely not true. Before,
I mean, prove it.
Oh, I like this. What's going on here? We got people in the chat talking with each other. I'm sure these storylines will go on forever. However, it's 10 NOIs and 1 Rhodes in WWE history. Love it. Love it. I think that's beautiful. So
I'm
yeah.
confused.
Oh my God. He's just giving up the belt. We're not going to have another conversation about Brett, but don't worry. November's coming around and we will have an annual Montreal Screwjob show. So just less than a month away, guys. And we'll be able to talk about the Montreal Screwjob. It'll be
I
our
never
annual
tire of talking about how Bret Hart should have just done his job.
I disagree.
Slash the fact
Last
that he tapped
year,
out.
I'm up 1-0. Last year, I completely
Oh
dog walked
bullshit!
Tyler.
How are you up 1-0?
Guys, go back and watch in the archives. I dog walked Tyler last year. He
I'm
even
gonna
called
have
me
to go back
after
and
the
watch
show.
now.
Yeah, he even called me after the show and he's like, I didn't feel like I was able to get across what I wanted to come across. And I was like, well, I guess you're going to have to wait till next year. So we'll definitely go at
I
it
always
again.
get mad and forget things, though. I need to start writing things down.
Absolutely. Brett, in my eyes, Brett has always been right about Vince McMahon. And these past couple of years has kind of been proven to be correct. But yeah, jumping back into this, overall, I thought this show was a 4.5 out of 5 empanadas. I really loved it. The Liv and Rhea botch at the end. I actually think about this. I didn't like the match, but the ending of the match and how convoluted it was, I feel like it just brings it down so much for me, but not enough to drop it under a 4. So I would say a 4 out of 5, 4.5 out of 5 empanadas. What about you, Tyler? What do you think?
I'm gonna give it 3.5.
Oof, my lord, do we have differences of opinion?
I mean, that's still like 70%. Like, that's good.
Wow.
You know?
Okay. I mean, from the dungeon here,
like up until about a year ago.
From the dungeon, feels like the Punk and Drew match was the only worthwhile match. I don't know. I would say that before we end our Bad Blood conversation, before we jump into the Triple H comments at the end of the show, I feel like what really brought it up for me was Gunther and Goldberg. I loved it. I thought that interaction was perfection. I wanted to save that for the end of our Bad Blood topic because my lord, Gunther, the way he trolls these old guys, this is like legend killer Randy Orton type stuff. Like, as he just trolls Goldberg and reminds Goldberg, like, obviously I was messing with Bret Hart, and he just Oh, I love this. I love this. Guys in the chat, give us your grades on this PLE. Universal here gave us a B minus. I love that. I love that. That's good. But guys, let us know what your grade is. You're out of 5, out of 10, your grade A through F, whatever you think. Just let us know what you think is the best. Tyler, my favorite thing that Gunther said to Goldberg when Goldberg took off his hat and he attacked was he said, come here, Goldberg. I got 3 minutes for you. Oh man. That had to be the best comment I have heard in such a long time. The fact that he acknowledged in front of all those people that most of Goldberg's matches are 3 minutes. Gunther has been just a brilliant champion, whether it's Intercontinental, whether it's NXT UK champ, or whether it's the World Heavyweight champ. He has been perfection whenever, just in its entirety. He's so good at what he does. I love it. Absolutely love it.
Everything a heel champion should be.
Yeah. But we do have to acknowledge that only one wrestler has ever squashed Bill Goldberg, and that was Braun Strowman. Goldberg rarely loses to people in a squash, so I mean, obviously Braun is the only guy who gets that squash. But yeah.
So did he beat, I don't remember that match. Did he beat him without taking any damage?
I mean, he pretty much dominated him. Yeah, if you go back, it was the COVID WrestleMania. He just dominated him and took the Universal Championship. This is a great question. Tyler, there's
no such thing as too NWO-ish.
Yeah, agreed. I don't think the Bloodline is like the NWO. I don't, because...
Well, no, because it's pretty selective with who can join it.
Yeah, it's selective, and the main figurehead of the company is not in the group itself. So I don't think it's NWO-ish. I don't think it's like the corporate ministry. I don't think it's like the corporation or the authority, because we had like the people that were in the front office, kind of, they were a part of those groups. And obviously with the NWO, we found out years later that Bischoff was pulling all of the strings on camera, not just that he was writing this stuff behind the scenes, but on camera, Eric Bischoff is revealed to be the brains of the NWO later on, which I actually wonder if
That's a
that was kind of,
fantastic segment.
yeah. So I do wonder if that's actually when some of it started to go downhill, because that's when he became a little obsessive about Vince McMahon. But we'll talk about that when,
That's late '96.
yeah, that's late 96. He does say that
That's with
98
Piper.
was actually the worst. Yeah. He says 96 was the worst storytelling, but that was their most marketable
96?
year. 98.
Yeah, '98 because it was based on they sold tickets and stuff based on what they did the year before, and
Yeah.
the year
Yeah.
before was golden.
Yeah, agreed. So yeah, now that we've kind of dissected the whole show, and we kind of already went over the Liv segment, because you kind of had to talk about it during her match as well, because of how everything happened at the end, and it's been acknowledged by WWE in two different facets. Uh let's talk about the fact that Triple H needs to hire himself somebody like a PR person,
Oh
and
boy.
he needs to maybe not answer questions the way he answers. And I would go as far as saying that when he was asked about the Vince McMahon stuff, his comment was no comment. And as you pointed out before we started the show, that pissed a lot of people off, because they felt like, you're the head of this company, you're the head of creative, you should give an opinion, whether he was told to say no comment or not. And he did his job, because that's what he was told by TKO. Uh, I think saying no comment yesterday would have benefited him a lot more than saying that he doesn't see color, and that he doesn't see gender, and that he only sees talent, because I think that is something that media is going to pick up. There's going to be other people that like chime in, because now it's been kind of it's talked about on ESPN, and it's talked about on like, you know, other podcasts. Like now we have the O'Shea Jackson podcast, and now like it's going to be talked about on Eric Bischoff's podcast. Like now there's just too many forms to be able to talk about something like this, and this is too important a subject that I don't think it'll be left alone, and I think this is only going to get worse. So Tyler,
Right.
how do you feel about it?
So I think if we're talking about Triple H,
Mhm.
I think there was an old time promoter, and I don't remember who it was. And the constant was to have a person of color as one of his main baby faces. And it was someone in the South, and they asked him, they're like, why? Why do you do this? Aren't you, prejudiced? And he said, the only color I care about is green.
Mhm.
And I think that's essentially what Triple H is trying to say. In this day and age, you can't say that.
Mhm.
Uh, and I mean, I get that he wanted to respond to, like, I didn't hear the question. Was the question, was it framed as like, what do you have to say about this
What do you
statistic,
have
or
to
did
say
they
about the
call him out?
fact that, yes, what do you have to say about the column that was released, that WWE has not put over a person of color on a premium live event in the past 700 something days? And do you feel like you will start to be more inclusive? And he immediately said, I don't view color, I don't view gender, I view talent. And that's how I look at the people. Like, if you're the best for this role, that's where you'll be. And I think people took that the wrong way.
Right. I think he believes that,
Yes,
but it's
I
just
agree with you.
not very well framed, not very well said.
Yeah,
I guess there's no good way to say it though either, right?
yeah, no, I agree with you. I think for me the biggest issue that I see is an acknowledgement of maybe an overlooking, like maybe just being like, wow, like I was just booking stories. These stories are written so far in advance. Like we have all these things built up. You didn't realize it. I think what's becoming more apparent is that there are certain wrestlers that in the previous regime were put over better. And I don't want to give credit to the previous regime, but like when you look at a Bianca Belair, she was presented as the top female star in the entire company with her entrances and her long title reigns and her status on the card. And now she's relegated to essentially being assistant to the regional manager because that's what those championships are. If you're going to come on here and you're going to lie, or if you're going to come on the internet and you're going to lie and say that the women's tag team championships are just this prestigious award, it's not the truth because
No.
they are presented as like the afterthought. And now we have two stars in Jade and Bianca that are,
Right.
yeah, they're holding those championships, but they're not given the spotlight that they should have been.
Right. So you can say the titles aren't presented that way, but you can't say that Jade and Bianca aren't presented like stars because they are.
They definitely are, especially Jade. Jade is definitely presented and worth it.
They've handled her with kid gloves, like to make sure that she looks spectacular.
I saw some idiot on Twitter say that they fumbled the bag with Jade, and I thought she has been with the company for less than a year. She's already had a WrestleMania match. She's already had a Royal Rumble moment. She's already a 2-time champion, and she's been given tons of opportunity, and she's worked some of the best talent in the world. Like Io Sky is probably in the top 5 of in the entire world. In terms of like female talent, and she's working her regularly. Now we know for a fact that it's going to be Damage Control versus Bianca and Jade. Like that's a phenomenal feud. I'm not sitting here defending that stuff, but I am going to say that the previous regime, they booked Bobby Lashley really well. And why is Bobby Lashley working for the other team? Like he shouldn't be over there. This is his company. He was presented as a monster. He beat Drew McIntyre at WrestleMania to retain his championship. Bobby Lashley could be, as to use MVP's words, these are not my words, to use MVP's words, he could be presented as the Black Brock Lesnar. And he could have been. That doesn't mean you need to win. Tyler, you say it all the time about Lesnar. He's perfect when he's not in the championship. He's a spectacle. He's like a special attraction.
Right.
Yeah.
But my thing was why is Bobby Lashley not there?
Yeah, I don't know. Did
they offer him more money to go to the other to the other channel?
I don't even know if they offered him money yet. I think he was just flat out released, and then I think Tony threw him some money.
He wasn't. His contract expired.
Agreed, but this isn't a Lex Luger situation. I'm sure that they didn't offer him a big sum to stay with the company, and Tony's like. Know. Tony probably sees what I see. I think he's fucking brilliant. I think Bobby Lashley's amazing. He's just ever since Bobby Lashley was the boss in TNA, he has been a completely different wrestler. Now, yes, he came back in his little feud with Balor and the Demon was weird with him slapping his ass. And yeah, that was all weird shit. But after that, he was presented as a absolute monster, a massive star. He's great. I am praying that Trick Williams is treated with, just like you said, with kid gloves. Keep him in NXT till he's fully ready. Bring him up because that man is going to be over. We saw it. He was presented on SmackDown once and the entire arena lost its mind with the whoop that trick shit. That is going to be massive. And I don't know if you're watching NXT. I don't miss an NXT show. I watch it every single time I can. I watch it on TikTok when somebody's streaming it. I do not miss NXT. It is an awesome show right now. But I got to tell you, when I watch the show, Oba Fem is an absolute rock star. When I watch Oba Fem, I think to myself, this dude is going to be everything we've always wanted and more. He is a great promo. He is perfect as a promo. And I got to tell you, he reminds me a lot, and I don't know if there's a lot of MMA fans here, but he reminds me a lot of Alex Pereira. Like, he is presented as a guy who maybe you don't think he should be the top guy, but he's going to dominate you. And that's exactly how he is. He's presented so well. I love it. I'm hoping, this is just a prediction. I haven't read a rumor or anything here. I'm hoping that he drops the North American Championship to Hikuleo. I think that's the perfect person to finally beat him for that championship. And then Oba moves up at the Royal Rumble, has his moment, and then he, debuts the night after the Royal Rumble. That's just my prediction. That's just what I want to see.
Yeah, and on NXT, you've got guys like Wes Lee, who held the North American title for how long? Almost a year.
Yeah, it's been pretty close. It's 245 days so far. That's what it was announced today. Oh, okay. Here we go. Universal. Who are you? My God, you have some great information here. I love this War Games thing. Why don't we end our topic there, and we can pick that up on Tuesday when Patty and Uribe are with us, so we can talk about that Triple H comment, because I'm sure Uribe has shit to say about it. But yeah, the new bloodlines: so Solo, Tama Tonga, Tongaloa, Jacob Fatu, Hikuleo, with The Rock versus Roman, Jimmy, Jay, Cody, and Randy. Oh, I love that. That is a really cool thing. If I can just kind of steal Patty's thing here. I loved friend of the show, Patty Rican. He actually had a really good take on this bloodline, which was, instead of having bloodline versus bloodline, it's bloodline versus Paul Heyman guys, which would have Roman, Jimmy, Jay, Lesnar, and CM Punk.
I think we're at the point now where that's not happening.
No, I agree. But if it's Roman, Jimmy, Jay, and Punk, I think it could work really well. I mean, Punk, but that's if Punk doesn't work Gunther at Survivor Series. I love this Universal. I love it. If this is exactly what we get, I think it'll be great. I think we're at the point where we're going to get multiple pay-per-views of Kevin Owens versus Cody Rhodes, because as the show completely ended after the press conferences and everything, Kevin Owens officially turned heel by jumping. Well, not really jumping, but he beat the crap out of Cody Rhodes after the show. I loved it. I thought it was great. It was right by his tour bus. He beat him up. He stomped his head in while he was on the ground. I mean, it was awesome. Just a great acknowledgement by Triple H today, saying that they realized what happened. They acknowledge what happened, and it will be dealt with on Monday at Raw. So that's going to be interesting. A reminder, guys, Raw is only 2 hours. So remember,
damn, are they packing it full?
Yes, they're going to be packing it full. So reminder, and as Triple H said, like, they are going to have to give us better stories if they're going to keep us tuned in. We are not getting a 3-hour Raw back. We are getting a 3-hour SmackDown when SmackDown, when Netflix officially acquires Monday Night Raw, we will be getting a 3-hour SmackDown. But for right now, we are getting 2 hours of Monday Night Raw.
So when Raw goes to Netflix, it's going to stay at 2 hours?
Ooh, Hikuleo is supposed to debut at War Games. Okay, I did not know that. I thought he was debuting in NXT. So yeah, that's a great call. If that's true, that's a great prediction.
Did he say that when Raw goes to Netflix, it's going to stay at 2 hours? Did I break you?
No, I can hear you clearly. I heard you say, "Did you break me?" And no, you're not Ivan Drago. So, yes. So, what I was going to say is he just acknowledged that he's going to have better stories for. He's going to have better stories for Monday Night Raw. But yeah,
but the question is, when it goes to Netflix, is it 2 or 3 hours?
Ooh, okay. So I should have posted your first comment. It says Owens and Cody supposed to happen on SmackDown to boost SmackDown's all-time low TV ratings. Interesting. And then it says WWE right now has an all-time record low TV ratings. I mean, it's still over 1 million. So I mean, I think USA is happy with what they're getting. I think Fox wanted more out of the relationship, which is why they're no longer on Fox. But God, Roman Reigns just looks spectacular. I'm rewatching the main event right now, and he just looks better than everybody else in the ring. He just looks like a superstar. And then there's Solo, who's there, and then Fatu looks just like a complete, like you said about the alleyway. And then there's that guy, you know, that guy.
Yeah, that guy. Whatever.
Yeah, that guy. Just the guy who just doesn't even. Yeah.
So here's the thing. Whenever
Mhm.
I really like a wrestler, Macho just decides they're the worst.
Well, it's not so
This
much
is
that.
This is the fourth time that he's done it now, so I think we can all notice the pattern with Finn Balor, with Liv, with Will Ospreay, and now with Cody.
Oh, there isn't a single wrestler on this planet that I can possibly say I dislike more than Will Ospreay. He might be my least favorite wrestler in the world. That is complete. I love compared to Will Ospreay. Cody Rhodes he's the Sting of my generation.
I mean, if you don't like, chocolate ice cream with sprinkles, then that's fine. You don't have
Will
to.
Ospreay is not chocolate ice cream with sprinkles. Will Ospreay
I think
is like
98% of the wrestling fan population thinks he's chocolate ice cream with sprinkles. Oh, okay. Yes. So, can I disclose the contents of the message that you left me?
Oh, yeah. That's right. Shane McMahon is better than Will Ospreay. Yes.
So he leaves me a 3-minute message talking about how Shane McMahon won a tournament that made himself the best in the world. And so that's why he's better than Will Ospreay. And that Will Ospreay is the flavor of the month, kind of like hot honey. And
yeah,
to
it's
that,
like hot honey, yeah.
To that, I respond, he's been the flavor of the month for like 8 years. So,
well, I don't think that's true because he never goes viral. The last thing he went viral for was his first match with Ricochet.
Okay, but he's been being talked about as one of the best since that match. And that was in
Fruity Pebbles. I love that.
2016.
Yeah. And they tried to replicate it, and they gave us that basura of a match that we had on Wednesday night.
Yeah, I don't know what that means, but I don't like it.
Basura. It was trash. It was trash.
One thing I will say is to answer two of your criticisms of Ospreay.
Okay.
He both sold during that match, and there were times where he, let the moment breathe.
Sure. When I watched that match, I thought to myself, is this what everybody wanted? This was special.
See, I didn't like it either.
Yeah, it was not good.
I thought they were trying too hard to
replicate the original.
Maybe that's what it was. I've never seen the original, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think Ricochet is levels above that man. I mean, the only thing negative about Ricochet is that he called himself the Kobe Bryant of professional wrestling. Like he did that in a sit-down interview with Will and Renee. Like I Kobe Bryant this shit, and I'm thinking like, bro, no, don't do that. Like, why would you say that? The most ridiculous thing has been said just now, and that's what he did. Personally, I watched that match hoping that I would be wrong. Maybe Ricochet would bring out something in Will Ospreay that I would enjoy. I don't. I can name about what ending are you speaking of, Universal? I'd love to know.
Probably the two endings of that match.
Ooh, okay. Blame Tony, not the wrestlers. Okay,
because they did the double pinfall.
Yeah.
And then they did the
no selling,
the Takeshita run in.
Well, yeah, but Takeshita is going to add something to the match. That guy's pretty special.
I agree.
He's going to have to carry those two though. Like
sure.
So I mean, Ricochet's really good.
So you didn't tell me that Brian and Ospreay is one of the best matches you've ever seen?
It was
You didn't
because
tell me
Brian
we saw
Danielson.
something special.
We did. Brian Danielson, he could work a broom. We saw a special match at a Kenny Omega and a blow up doll. We saw a special match at a Kenny Omega and an 11-year-old girl. Like, people can have good matches with inferior talent. That's a normal thing. I mean, Will Ospreay is he's just that. He's not exciting. Name one thing Will Ospreay has done in his entire career that is as cool or that is as memorable as Shane McMahon flying elbow off the Hell in the Cell.
Okay.
You know what? I take it back. I'm sorry. I want to apologize to the people that are in the
You froze for just a second, so I'm going to take this opportunity to speak. Are you or are you not the one who is all about, I want safe work, I want safe moves, safe this and safe that?
I'm
So
here.
then
I'm
yet-
listening.
But yet
I'm just letting you talk.
you're advocating for Shane McMahon just jumping off of shit.
Did you not see there was a blow up thing under there? Okay, I said I take it back. I apologize. I said, but that's probably where I froze. So I'll say everything I said.
You froze, yes.
I said I apologize. I take it back because I knew how you were going to come at me. So I'll say it this way: name one moment in Will Ospreay's life. Name one match that is as good as Shane McMahon versus Kurt Angle at the King of the Ring.
Okay, I'll name at least two.
No, you won't.
Both matches with Kenny. The match with Brian, that's 3. The match with Takeshita.
You're absolutely ridiculous.
Maybe not the match with Takeshita, but the other 3.
Absolute hogwash. Is that the proper word to say? No, I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say. I'm just going to say you're full of shit. That Kurt Angle and Shane McMahon King of the Ring match is one of the most spectacular matches ever. Shane McMahon at that point was at the peak of his powers. I'm not saying he's one of the greatest wrestlers ever, but I'm definitely not saying that about Will Ospreay. He's not even top 100 all time. And I would just say that when I look at what, Will Ospreay does, there's
As it's a perfect time for him to freeze. Because he's just talking shit out his ass.
What is happening? Okay,
I don't know. You keep freezing, and
I said I watched it.
To talk shit.
Yeah, I watched it better out of Yoshihiro Tajiri and Super Crazy. I watched it better out of Rey Mysterio and Psychosis. I watched it better out of Juventud Guerrera and Billy Kidman. I watched it better, all right, out of Ultimo Dragon versus William Regal. These people that I just mentioned all had better, more innovative matches than Will Ospreay has ever given us. He's just not that good. He's not what I feel like he is.
Why then?
What?
Why then do half of the pro wrestling community call him the best in the world?
Who does that? Who? Twitter? Twitter?
Okay, that's your go-to for everything else. So why doesn't it count here? It's just getting worse.
Yeah, I don't know what's happening. My internet's being weird. It's like your fascination with Cody Rhodes. Oh, everybody loves Cody. He's the best. And then it's oh, every time a wrestler is asked and interviewed that doesn't work for WWE what their dream match is, and they say Roman Reigns. Why?
What wrestler? Who said that?
Why? Kenny Omega. I would love to work Roman Reigns. Why would he want to work Cody Rhodes? He worked him in Japan, and he worked circles.
He already
around
has.
Him. Yeah, because he worked circles around him.
So yeah, someone who hasn't worked, he's not going to name someone he's already worked with. That's.
Oh, you like Will Ospreay versus Orange Cassidy? Yeah, Orange Cassidy really does carry. He really did carry him. Orange Cassidy is phenomenal. I'm not going to say anything
I
negative about
forgot
Orange.
that match. That match was amazing.
Yeah. Dean Malenko versus Rey Mysterio, 100%. Just brilliant,
great matches.
brilliant matches. How about Dean Malenko versus Chris Jericho? Those early Jericho was like, come on, baby. Like those matches were phenomenal. Will versus Omega Forbidden Door. Which one? Which one did you
Forbidden Door
like?
one. I could Universal. I don't know who you are, but I could hug you right now. That's
that match was
if
trash.
it's not Brett versus Austin from Mania 13, it's that match. It's possibly my favorite.
Oh my god, that is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. Ridiculous thing I've ever heard. Bryan Danielson versus Triple H, the opening match of WrestleMania 30 is better than that.
Oh my
match.
god, it's the most overrated. No, it's not.
Bryan Danielson versus Kenny Omega,
Bryan versus
Arthur
Okada
Ashe.
is.
I didn't say that. I wasn't even mentioning that. I'm talking about matches that everybody loves, not matches that just Macho loves. All right.
I'm just talking about. I know you're gonna say because it was on the same card.
No. I wasn't going to talk about it. No. Bryan versus Okada 3 was the best of those. Bryan versus Okada 3
the other night.
Yeah, it was the best of the 3.
The one that I could not make myself stay awake for.
Well, that's just because you hate Bryan Danielson.
They stalled. They stalled for 20 minutes to get Okada's title out of the way.
No, they stalled. They had a phenomenal match. That match was awesome. That match was great.
So slow.
Oh, I'm sorry. You only like guys that.
It's like Randy Orton wrestling Randy Orton.
I mean, Brian says Randy Orton. It might be
Randy Orton as a special guest referee.
Yeah, not a hugger, but handshake. He said he's not a hugger, but handshakes. Yeah.
I'll give you a little fist bump then. Okay, yeah.
I think in terms of wrestlers, I would say it this way: Bryan Danielson, Okada, Kenny Omega, Tanahashi, Hangman Adam Page, Swerve Strickland.
Tanahashi.
Yeah, Tanahashi. Swerve Strickland, I would say.
The old dude from New Japan?
Yeah, absolutely. You don't think Tanahashi's a good wrestler?
Not anymore.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay.
I think he's more washed than Jericho.
Oh, there's nobody that's more washed than Randy the Ram right now. Let's calm down.
I don't know which one is Randy the Ram. They both are terrible at this point.
No, Jericho is clearly Mickey Rourke. Like, it's funny. Mickey Rourke.
Swerve had to go to extreme lengths just to save the man's life. Because he couldn't get out of his own way.
Oh, I disagree with this. I just don't think Will Ospreay is that great. Like, here's the thing. Here's what I find very odd. I feel like we're in an era of professional wrestling where it's not okay to dislike people. Like, you have to like everybody's favorite wrestler, or you're immediately.
It's fine. I just don't.
Yeah, it might be fine between you and I.
I just think you dislike him because I love him.
No, that's not it. I don't like him. I don't think he's.
And I think if he'd gone to WWE, that you would.
No, I don't. I think if he goes to WWE, I don't even think he makes it farther than Kyle O'Reilly did.
Because I said at one point, I think he's becoming my favorite, and you're like, yeah, he might be mine too. And then, like, within weeks, you just hated him.
Yeah, I really enjoyed what I was watching from him, and I was going back and watching a lot of his Japanese stuff, and I was like, okay, this guy's pretty good. And then he came to AEW, and I was like, I don't know what he's doing here, but I can tell you he doesn't know how to sell, and he's not very good at it. And it's kind of one of these things. Like, when I have equated, I don't think I've said this on our podcast here. I am an OG Hulk Hogan hater. I am one of these guys that are old school, do not like Hulk Hogan. I mean this from being a little boy, right? The moment that I realized I hated Hulk Hogan was when I watched Macho Man Randy Savage go up to the top rope and give him 3 or 4 elbow drops, and then watch Macho go for the pin. and Hogan kicked out. Big boot, leg drop, won the match. And I thought to myself, am I watching like Captain Planet? Am I watching something so unbelievable that it cannot be true?
Captain Planet, he's
Like,
a hero.
yeah, he's gonna take pollution down to zero. But I'm gonna tell you, like, when I was watching that match, I felt like it was the first time I felt rage as a child, thinking like, this is ridiculous. Like, it was the first time. Like, I think like my mom sent me to bed once, and she took my like favorite like doll that I used to sleep with, which was an Alf doll, right? Because he had the cassette tape that went in the back. Like, that was my favorite. And my mom was like, nope, you're being bad. You're going to go to bed. Here's what you're going to go to bed with, you know, with a few cocotazos, right? And I thought to myself, I hate Hulk Hogan. I hate this man. He's just awful. And when I watch Will Ospreay no sell, like, I keep bringing up this one spot. I saw Will Ospreay take a burning hammer and then hit his back elbow weird, ridiculous finisher or whatever, and then hit the stupid twisting, whatever he calls that move, like where he gets you ready for like the pedigree and then puts you on his shoulder and does a twist, whatever the hell that move's called.
Is it a cutter?
No. It's weird. It's whatever it is. It's his actual
what's
finisher.
it called? What's it called? Stormbreaker?
Yeah, whatever it is. It's a ridiculous finisher. And I just thought to myself, are you kidding me? I got flashbacks of that Hulk Hogan. And I was like, no way. I can't like a guy like this. And I've had people argue with me.
Two different scenarios, right?
What do you mean? That he took a burning hammer? A burning hammer is a
Like
finishing move.
He's doing what they want him to do. Whereas
That's right.
Hogan,
that is the best version of Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
I like Thunder Lips. Thunder Lips is my favorite Hulk Hogan.
Yeah. I've sang entirely too much on this podcast.
It's all right. It's cool. They're all wrestling songs.
The difference between Will and
not
Hogan
Captain Planet. Go ahead.
Wait, sorry, I was talking. I didn't hear what you said.
Go ahead. What are you about to say that the difference between Hulk Hogan and Will Ospreay? Because I'm about to encyclopedia this shit by giving people matches to go watch.
Will is doing what they want him to do.
Mm-hmm.
Hogan just says that doesn't work for me, brother, and does what he wants.
Okay, so that started later in his career, but if you go back and watch Hogan's Japanese, you don't think
the 4 elbow drops and getting up is maybe, Hulk trying to make himself look the best he can?
This show's going off the rails. You must train. Say your prayers. Not take your vitamins. Roids, brother. That's right. Ooh. I love it.
I think it's the most people you ever had in the chat. This is amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. The Hidden Blade and the Stormbreaker, just gaga finishers, man. Just gaga.
Who are you?
I don't know, bro. You are one of our favorite people. One of our favorite people. You are definitely one of the best interactions we've ever had on the show. Just brilliant.
I think I might know who it is. Universal. Are you Matt Miller?
Matt Miller, the guy who just beat me in fantasy.
Did he?
The Colts guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, if that's him.
Did he play Flacco?
He played Flacco, yeah. Yeah, he did play Flacco. He played Flacco and he played Trace Sermon.
Joe Flacco.
Yeah, he played Trace Sermon and Sermon got a touchdown.
So he just took his Colts out and put their backups in and still just whooped your ass.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Yeah.
And now he's on our podcast just like
I don't know, man. He's not responding
making you look like because I outed him. I'm pretty sure it's not. I'm pretty sure it's not because I don't think Matt would know where the Maritimes were.
Oh, got it.
I don't think he's up on his Canadian geography.
I just don't think Will's not for me. He's not my cup of tea. But that's fine. But I remember in the 90s not being a fan of hardcore wrestling. Like, I remember thinking, like, no, this isn't for me. I was a fan of technical wrestling. I liked Brett, Owen. I liked Regal, Malenko, Jericho, Benoit. I liked all of these guys from like the early 90s and like the late 90s, and Shawn and Perfect, Rude, Sting, obviously Sting forever. And I remember having conversations with kids and they'd be like, "Yo, did you watch that Mankind versus Kane match?" And I'd be like, "I don't like it. It's not for me." And they'd be like, "Okay." And we'd be
Yeah.
able to change the conversation. But now when I tell people I don't like Will Ospreay, they get all like offended. Like they're
I
like,
do
"You
because
just
it's
don't
every time I
like
like
him."
someone, you're like, yo, that guy sucks.
Well, I mean, it's now we have never met until now. That's what he said. We have never met until now. That's what he said. Yeah, yeah. Well, you can
Okay,
follow us on
that's
the
ominous.
that is ominous. That's cool. I love it though. It's great. Yeah. Yeah, Will's not that guy for me, but neither is Hogan. But
No, it's
yeah.
cool.
But why don't we just like give a little bit of teeth to it? Like
To be
what
fair, like I love Will the guy way more than I love
Ooh.
Will the wrestler.
Yeah, I think that's a strange thing that you tend to do as the Cowboys just fumbled in the red zone. TJ Watt once again. I will say,
I didn't even
listen,
realize the game had started.
yeah, end of the first quarter, and at 10:30. So yeah,
That's
I don't know.
great.
For me, I've never been a Hogan fan, not a Will Ospreay fan,
Me either.
but I will.
Oh, he was gonna say something nice about Will, so of course he froze.
No.
I mean, I'll just
No,
finish
I
what he
was
was gonna
not going to
say.
say nothing nice about Will Ospreay. What I was going to say is I have had a dislike for certain wrestlers and then come as whack. And then I watched him and I watched him grow and I watched him perform a hell of a lot more. And I was like, yeah, this guy's awesome. Same thing with
You
MJF,
froze. Who are we talking about?
Seth. And
Okay.
yeah, I
Yeah, you
wasn't a
did
big
hate
fan
him.
of his. Yeah. And then I didn't like MJF either because I grew up in Jersey all. What is happening right now? I don't even know what just happened. I don't know. Everything seems fine. And then my internet's just getting gaga here. It says it's strong, so I don't know what's going on. But yeah, so when I watch like certain guys, it takes me a little bit to like them. Yeah, I like it. Thanks, man. Yeah, there
Yeah,
you go. Hey, I
that happened to you
appreciate
with
you.
Adam Cole twice.
Yeah, yeah. But see, now
Yeah,
my Adam Cole thing is different. My Adam Cole thing is completely different because
he
here's the
hated
thing.
it. So
No,
he hated
no.
Adam Cole, and then he calls me one day. He's like, "I want to watch a lot of Adam Cole matches. He's really
Yeah,
good."
yeah. Yeah. I mean, here's what I will say. The Adam Cole thing is a personal thing. I just don't like him as a human being because I want to be with his girlfriend. So it's just kind of one of those things,
Well,
like, or his
they broke up,
ex-girlfriend.
so
Yeah,
you're
I know. She lives here in Pennsylvania, so let's get at it. Let's go. Britt Baker, what's up? DMD. I'm all about it. DM me. DM me. There you go. Anyway, what's it says here?
I
It
just
says
really hope your
been a
wife
fan
is
of
not
wrestling since.
listening.
Oh, that's fine. We're allowed. You know, if Jason Momoa walked in this house, there's
Okay,
nothing
so
I
you
could
got
do.
like a hall pass.
Yeah, I don't think she would be my hall pass. I think Christine Milioti would be my hall pass. But I've been a fan of wrestling since the 80s, and the evolution of wrestling has changed drastically. I believe it when I believe it went from watching them as heroes to watching some of them as talent. Oh, I love that
Well,
comment. That
yeah,
is a
I
great
agree with
comment.
that, and I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that we learn more about what's happening behind the scenes. I agreed. Universal fist bump again.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm still
I
concerned that
mean,
you might be planning on murdering me, but other than that,
wow, that's a hell of a thing to. Yeah, Universal. He's tired. Don't listen to him. No, what I
no,
will say.
it was the ominous we've never met until now.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. No, what I was
Somebody
gonna
in the
say
closet.
is that what I love about professional wrestling is like I'm 40 years old, right? And there are certain wrestlers that I can't be impartial about. I love to death. Like from the moment I first watched him at 4 years old to the moment I was there in person to watch Sting retire, he was my all-time favorite wrestler. There
I'm
will
really
never
glad you
be.
got to go to that.
Oh yeah, I'm not even going to tell you the amount of tears that I shed watching him and watching his sons. It'll forever be a moment. I never thought I'd get a chance to watch him in person. So getting to watch my all-time favorite wrestler, one of the greatest ever, my personal number one on my Mount Rushmore. I think one of the most underrated wrestlers ever too, because I feel like people don't understand how fucking amazing he was. I just had a conversation with a fellow Sting fan who asked me point blank, because my profile photo on my Twitter is black and white Sting, and they asked me who my favorite version of Sting was, and I said, I know this. I know the irony in what I'm about to say, but it's Surfer Sting. And it's
Mine
because
too.
Surfer Sting gave me the best moments as a child. You know,
I
he
think that's
is.
his best working version as well.
I love it. You're a
Nice.
Stinger. I love it. Just absolutely. Sting is, yeah, he's it for me. He's the reason I love professional wrestling. I've said this before and I'll say it again. My very first wrestling match I ever watched was a taped match, and it was Sting versus Ric Flair, and it was their 45-minute draw. That was my introduction to Sting. And he was it for me. He was a superhero. I dressed up as the man like 4 or 5 years in a row for Halloween. Like, I loved him so much. He it'll never change. My son is 8 and I love Sting so much. I've never pushed him. My son has his own favorite wrestlers. Tyler doesn't understand where he gets these favorite wrestlers from, because like Brock Lesnar was Who are you? You were there for Halloween Havoc versus like Sting versus Sid Vicious? No way.
What year was that?
Oh my lord, man. Oh, I don't know. That's a great question. I am not good with years like that. So that would
Couldn't have
be a
been
great question
92
to
because
ask.
that was Sting and Jake.
Yeah, absolutely. He's the best. Surfer Sting was awesome. He would have killed it. He would have killed it in WWE, WWF. He would
Oh
have been
yeah,
perfect for the company too. He would have been perfect.
he would
Yeah.
have been what they tried to make Warrior.
Yeah, he would have done everything they asked him to do. Absolutely. Yeah, yeah. But, you know,
Can you imagine if it's Sting that beats Hogan for the title at WrestleMania 6? Maybe Hogan never comes back.
yeah, what I was going to say is I just want to remind the chat, since you so eloquently brought up Sting versus Hogan, that Sting is undefeated against Hulk Hogan. So I think that's really important to state.
Is he though?
Yes, he is, sir. He is. He is undefeated against Hulk Hogan at pay-per-views. 5-0.
So he didn't initially lose at Starrcade?
No, you know that that's in the record books as a win. You know that that's in the record books as a win.
You know,
They
it was really irresponsible for him to show up not tan.
Oh my god, I'll never fucking Hogan. Yeah. I was there for Sting versus Flair Mall of America when Luger showed up. Get the fuck out of here. You were there for the first Nitro? Come
That's
on.
amazing.
That is awesome. Get out of here. Wow.
I
Some
saw
of the
Luger
guys in
main
our
event a
chat.
house show. I saw Luger main event a house show in Moncton, New Brunswick, the
Wow.
Friday before that.
Wow.
So it was one of his last matches in WWF. It was Luger and Shawn versus Owen and Yoko for the tag belts was the main event because
Wow.
Diesel got hurt wrestling Mabel. It was supposed to be Diesel versus Yoko. And it was amazing.
I wonder what Diesel versus Yoko would have been.
Not amazing.
I mean, Yoko was amazing, so fuck you say.
Sure. But, with the right guys, he was better. I don't think Diesel would have been a very good stylistic fit.
I was 6 or you were 11? That's a pretty large gap. I don't know which one. Halloween 90. I was 11. Okay. All right. Yeah, I mean that's awesome, man. Congratulations. That is one of the coolest things I've ever heard. Like, or had anybody like been able to talk to. I know a fellow friend of the podcast from the dungeon there, D Rotten, he actually told us that he watched live when it was actually happening, not on tape delay, Sting and Luger versus the Steiners, which was considered which was PWI match of the year. And I thought that was one of the coolest things I've ever heard because I love that match. Luger is one of the most underrated wrestlers that I've ever seen. He was my dad's favorite wrestler. So it's pretty cool. I don't know, man. I think there's a lot of workers out there that people don't pay attention to that they think are bad because there's a certain generation that told them that these guys couldn't work. And then you go back and you watch their matches and you're like, what the fuck? These guys are good. Like this whole like narrative that Sid Vicious or Sid Justice or Psycho Sid was a bad wrestler because he had one bad match with Undertaker was just ridiculous. Like, you know,
I mean, he wasn't as bad as they made him out to be, but he's no, he's not Ricky Steamboat either.
Yes, sir, it was. Come on now. That's such a ridiculous thing to say. Did you just you pick one of the greatest in-ring performers
That's what
ever.
I'm saying. Like he's not he wasn't a great worker. He was
in terms of in-ring work, bell to bell. You pick a guy that is on par with Shawn Michaels and say he's not as good as come on, get the fuck out of here. That's what
I'm saying. It's hyperbolic, but it's that's what I'm saying. Like he was all right.
Yeah,
he was really good for a guy that size.
Yeah, look, we got to run in over here from Simba. Just in case you're wondering. Yeah.
Get it?
Hi. That's my buddy. That's my Simba. He chilling. Nacho Simba. First name Nacho. Yep. Like nacho cheese. Yeah. Yep.
Does he have that orange cat energy?
No, he's very lovable. He's not crazy.
I think they're lovable, but they say the orange cats are like tryhards.
Sting has a Nitro match against Hogan. He's got Fall Brawl. He's got Super Brawl. He's got Starrcade. There's one more. There's one more in there. Yeah, but he's under. Oh, yeah, and then he beat him in TNA as well. So yeah, we can't forget that they wrestled in TNA as well.
Do we count that?
Yeah. I think the only time that please give me your Mount Rushmore of wrestlers. My personal Mount Rushmore, mine are different. So I can tell you, I have a Seth Rollins style, kind of like Tyler. I think Tyler has the same thing. He's got workers and people that made money. I don't do it that way. I'm going to give you who I believe is the best, just in general. And then I'm going to give you my personal, Macho Rodriguez is mine are Sting.
I like what
Bryan Danielson, Bret the Hitman Hart, and Brock Lesnar. Those are my personal. Lesnar has been kind of moved out though. He's been moved out not because of what happened with the whole Vince thing, but because for me, Roman is just he's just become such an integral part of professional wrestling to me. But yeah, it's Bryan, Bret, and Sting will never move from my Mount Rushmore. But the fourth person, Lesnar, Roman, those guys will, they'll move. And obviously Roman still has so much more left in his career. If I were to throw a female in there, it would be Becky.
So I'm going to do mine now.
Mm-hmm.
It's, Will Ospreay,
mm-hmm.
Finn Balor, Liv Morgan, and Elias.
Wow.
I'm just kidding. I had to shout out my buddy there. But no, seriously, in all seriousness, it would be, oh God, it's so hard. It's so difficult. I don't want to give you an opening there. Shawn Michaels, Edge, Macho Man.
Mhm.
It's so hard to pick 4. So hard to pick 4. I mean, I guess if it's just your personal preferences, it's got to be Sean Waltman.
Oh, wow.
Xbox
I
1, 2, 3
love
kid,
that.
whatever you want to call it. I was a huge fan.
Okay. All right. I like that.
Happy to see him at the show last night. He looks good.
Yeah, he looks good. Just before we move on and I give like my workers. So Sting beat Hogan at Starrcade 97. Then Sting beat Hogan.
Starcade, yes.
Yeah, what are you talking
So-
about? I'm reading it. You're
I
gonna
was
tell
thinking
me the
Super
word.
Bowl. I was thinking Super Bowl. Yeah, you're right.
Okay. Sting beats Hogan at Super Bowl 8 for the vacant title. Sting beat Hogan for the World Heavyweight Championship in a steel cage match on February 4th, 1998. Sting beat Hogan at Fall Brawl when he hits Hogan with the baseball bat in the stomach, puts him in the Scorpion Deathlock, and Hogan kind of like he beats Hogan. That was at Fall Brawl 99. Then he beats Hogan on October 24th, 1999 at Halloween Havoc. And then finally Sting beat Hogan October 16th, 2011 at TNA Bound for Glory. 5 times.
Wait, so did you say February 4th, 98?
Yeah, what are you telling me what I'm reading is wrong?
Possibly, because that would be before Starcade.
98.
Or not, before Super Bowl. Before Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So how could he beat him for the vacant title if the vacant title was vacant at
I'm
Super
reading
Bowl?
it. I'm reading it on
You see what
Cage
I'm
Match
saying?
right now. Yeah, I
I'm wondering
understand.
I'm wondering if it wasn't maybe March 4th and they just have the date wrong.
Maybe. But it was 5 times.
It's the only thing I can think of because
Yeah.
Unless it was just not for the title.
Maybe. I mean, he did beat him on Nitro a couple of times. He beat him in tag matches. There were some no contests. There is a match where like Sting dresses up in Hogan colors because Hogan's not wearing the red and yellow. He's trying to sway Hogan back like it was a Nitro match. And then that turns out to be a no contest. Hogan wrestles in like cowboy boots and shit. I don't know.
He's wearing black, right?
Huh?
He's wearing black though, right?
Yes, he's wearing black. You're absolutely right. Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. And then Universal. Yeah. Never put. There we go. Here we got the thing. Universal. It's a personal choice, but if you know mine, it's Sting, Flair, Michaels, and The Undertaker. Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. So I have my personal Mount Rushmore. My personal Mount Rushmore is that's mine. But if I would say like the greatest ever, like who I think is the greatest ever, I would say Shawn, Brett, Austin, and I mean I'm gonna throw Sting in there regardless. I think Sting is one of the most underrated people ever. No, I do not have Undertaker in mind. I feel like I'll go off on a rant here, and I feel like people will get upset. I don't think that Undertaker had a good match until he wrestled Shawn Michaels. Like when I go back and I watch his matches, I feel like his first couple of WrestleMania matches are snoozers. Yeah, like they're pretty. Like if you watch his match with Jimmy Snuka, is pretty bad. His match with Jake the Snake is pretty bad. King Kong Bundy, it's pretty bad. His match with Hogan is That's not a WrestleMania match, but it's pretty bad. His match with Giant Gonzalez, pretty bad. Like the WrestleMania streak is built on lies. It's like, oh yeah, he won those matches, but they're not great matches. We mentioned the Psycho Sid match. That's not a great match either. It's kind of one of those
No,
like
the match at 12 with Diesel is okay.
It's okay.
Okay to good.
Yeah, it's okay because he works from the bottom. It's the first time we've seen Taker work from the bottom. It's like he's the baby face in the match. Like Diesel is like pressing him the whole match, and he's a really good seller. The Kane match was pretty bad. Yeah, for me Taker. I will say this: he's not in my Mount Rushmore, but he's got the greatest character, or the second greatest character we've ever seen. Like that's
17 with Hunter's pretty good.
Yeah, Flair's good. Flair's match is good.
Good.
Heart and Soul is good. Royal Rumble '98 is good, even though that ended the first half of Shawn Michaels' career. Yeah, I mean,
I like most of his matches with Foley. I don't like Hell in a Cell.
Hell in a Cell. Yeah, you said. Yeah, I mean, don't get people rioting against us. A lot of people love that Hell in a Cell match.
Well, good for them.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's kind of how I feel. Like, yeah, it's Taker's. He's great. I'm not gonna I love Taker. I love the version of Taker right around the Edge and Batista feud. I thought feud, like that Taker was
the Mania match with Batista is.
Oh, it's phenomenal. But that's also a lot of people think Dave's a bad worker, and they're wrong. Like they're just wrong.
Yeah, it just depended on whether or not he was engaged in what he was doing.
Shut up. Batista's worst match ever is the Punjabi prison match. He's never had a match that bad. That's it.
Okay, sure. That would be a lot of people's worst match ever.
Sure, but I think he's a really good worker. Both of his matches with Triple H are good for the fact that both of them were out of the business the second time. Every match that he had dating from WrestleMania 21 and after, those matches were great. And then his matches with Randy were phenomenal. His matches with Eddie Guerrero were phenomenal. His match with Rey Mysterio was good. Obviously, his Taker matches, his JBL matches were good. His Edge matches were good. Like Batista's got a slew of great matches. Like he's just really, really good worker.
Yeah, and people just don't appreciate him. Phoned it in.
If you say so. I mean, WrestleMania 21 is the greatest WrestleMania of all time. So
WrestleMania 21.
Yep. John Cena versus JBL, Batista versus Triple H, Shawn Michaels versus Kurt Angle.
You know that both Cena versus JBL and Batista versus Triple H at Mania are looked at as bad matches, right?
Well, then people don't know what the fuck they're talking about. You know why? Because that JBL versus John Cena match, that was JBL working true professional wrestling. He worked the body. He worked the entire thing. Everything he was doing was for the clothesline from hell. Every single thing. It made sense. It was a beautiful match. It was like what we watched with CM Punk and Drew McIntyre last night. There was no wasted movement. And I think people don't like that. People don't like actual classic professional wrestling. They want to see spectacle. They want to see Will Ospreay take a German suplex, get up, and then give a shooting star press like 2 seconds later. Like that's what they want to see. They don't want to see guys sitting down and actually working a good style, just going back and forth. Like I'll tell you right now, if Benoit doesn't do what he did, right, I think if they try to have that match today, Benoit versus Kurt Angle, the half an hour submission match, I don't think fans like it today. I think they call it boring. The submission match, the 2 out of 3 falls that he had with Chris Jericho, where he puts the crippler crossface on him and Jericho, like his face is like his hair's covering his face and he passes out from the crossface. I don't think people like that match today. I don't think people don't like that style anymore. They just don't. People don't want to see that style of professional wrestling anymore. Like, it's cool for like a middle of the card shit, like Chad Gable does, but people don't want to see true blue, like hold for hold, catch as catch can, like real professional wrestling. People just don't want to see that shit anymore. That's just how they feel. Like you could tell when you watch it. When you
Okay,
read
but
the shit on
so if
Twitter.
that's the case,
I mean, you said it. You
so
don't like Okada versus Bryan. That's what that is.
it's just so slow.
See, you don't like it. That's that. A lot of people
I've
agree
just
with
seen
you,
so much more entertaining from both guys.
but that's not what they're supposed to be giving you. They're supposed to be giving you like
They're supposed to be
William
giving me what I
Regal,
want. That's what
but
they're.
what
Because
you specifically, Tyler,
is
want?
no what the audience wants, and you're saying the audience doesn't want to see that. So then,
Because it's not the style they work.
because
They
it's a
both
scripted
work a similar
program.
style.
So therefore, if the audience doesn't like it, that means it's not good.
I don't know. Your favorite wrestling pundit.
My favorite wrestling pundit.
Yeah, I mean, I know
Is
how
who?
much you love him. You call him Uncle Dave and everything. So
Have I called him that?
yeah, I mean,
I
yeah.
think
When
that's tongue in cheek, sarcastically,
but yeah, that's
I
what I
don't
mean.
hate
Like,
him. I don't hate him as much as Eric and Bruce do, but
yeah, well, Bruce Pritchard's is a moron. But what I was gonna say is, yeah, I just don't think people want to see that style anymore. I think we're in an era where wrestling fans want to see blood, they want to see mayhem, they want to see brawl, but they don't want to see hold for hold. They don't want to see like William Regal versus Dean Malenko, like going out there and I'm going to put you in a headlock. You're going to reverse it into a hammerlock. Then I'm going to drop you down to the ground. Then I'm going to put you I'm going to have your head between my legs and then you're going to kick up out of it. Like, I don't think Brett versus Owen WrestleMania 10 would be as good today to professional wrestling fans. They wouldn't appreciate
I disagree.
it.
I just don't think they're interested in JBL slowly working the body, and Cena at that time was nothing special either.
I mean, I suppose. I mean, you're kind of preaching to the choir. I mean, you're kind of saying that you agree with those fan bases, where you say that like you. I mean, you even said it here. You're like they're supposed to be servicing me, like you're a lone person.
No, but I mean, they're supposed to be giving the audience what they want.
I mean, a lot of us enjoyed that match, Tyler. There's a lot of people that enjoyed all three Okada versus Bryan matches.
I'm not disputing that, and that's not. In that case, it's down to personal preference, and it's not.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like slow, methodical.
Yeah, you've said that
unless it speeds up at some point.
I mean, you've said that because you don't like Randy Orton, and that's so odd.
I don't.
The thing is, like, Randy Orton works almost identical to Ric Flair. He does a lot of Ric Flair style without the throwing off.
Ric Flair's got a lot more splash and style to distract you from the fact that we're moving at a glacial pace. Randy's like,
I disagree with you. I think that there's a like, this is kind of what I'm saying. Like, wrestling fans have decided that their version of professional wrestling is the only good wrestling, and that's kind of like my thing with Will. Like, I appreciate Universal and I appreciate, like, Baptist Bulldog, kind of like pointing that out. Like, we're all allowed to like what we like. Like, I don't have to like the flippy shit, but I did enjoy it when Ultimo Dragon was doing it. I enjoyed it when Hoovy was doing it, with Juice and Thunder Liger, when Dynamite Kid. I enjoyed it when those guys did it, the originators of it. But I don't like the version that Will gives me. Oh, I like that. Oh, that is a great comparison. Randy Orton is like Jake the Snake Roberts with more athleticism. Love it. That is a perfect comparison. Perfect.
Except that Jake could talk him out of the building.
Nobody. He clearly said the word athletic. Like,
right, but I'm saying like Jake had that to draw you into his character.
Yeah,
I guess the thing is the thing with Randy, right, is like I'm a huge Randy Orton fan from like his debut evolution to like I don't know 2011 or 12,
Mhm.
like to the point where he almost right to the point where he cashes in on Bryan. But like after that, I think he had an injury and he went away for a while and he came back and this is like he's never been the same. Like since the Lesnar match.
Oh, that's different. I think that was designed that way. It was
I feel like
specifically.
we've seen a different Randy Orton since then.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose you're right. I just look at it as Randy gives me what I need because he's a difference of what we're getting today. He's not he's not giving us the same thing. What's the universals here? Bruno, Bob Backlund, Ric Flair, Brock Lesnar. Honorable mentions to Macho Man, Sting, and Brett. That might be the most unique Mount Rushmore I've ever seen, and I fucking love it. Universal, I don't know who you are,
Yeah.
but you are. That shows so much. Oh, you said take out Backlund. Okay, so who are you replacing?
Okay.
Bruno, Flair, and Brock. Okay. He said my mistake. He said take out Backlund. So Bruno, Flair, and Brock. I
But there's
love that.
four.
That's yeah, there's four. He said honorable mentions Sting, Macho, and Brett. So I guess
Put one of those in there, I
he's
guess.
doing what I'm doing, where it's like I have Lesnar and Roman kind of like tossed in there.
Yeah.
For me, yeah, I just love that, man. That's a beautiful list. Beautiful list. Because yeah, not a lot of people are big fans of Bruno, like or not that they're not big fans, they just never watched him. Like Bruno back in the day, like I've seen his matches with Antonio Rocca, you know, he's definitely worked. Like my grandfather's
Yeah.
big, like I have one living grandparent left and he loves Bruno Sammartino. Like he swears he's the greatest wrestler that's ever lived. So
Yeah, and I guess I don't get it. But I wasn't alive during his time, so that's probably why. Was he like innovative or something? Or was he just really like I don't understand. So I'm asking, like, explain it to me.
he's very much like the Von Erichs, like Fitz. Like he is like just an old methodical worker. That's what he is. Like
Okay.
just old. Like I'm gonna if I beat you down on the back. Like I get the closest we'll ever see to Bruno Sammartino in like this day and age. I would say is like Larry Zbyszko. Like what you watch when Larry would come
Well,
in and work
he
in
trained
WCW.
Larry, right?
Yes, and then Larry turns on him and stuff, and we see that.
Yeah, I've seen that. Yep.
Yeah, so I
I've
mean
seen the
that's
clip.
kind of like yeah, what we kind of see and stuff, but yeah, those are
Because
kind of like the guys that
one
we saw.
guy I'd like to go back and study is like Nick Bockwinkel. Because
Yeah,
a lot of guys like credit him as an influence.
yeah, yeah. I would love
But
to.
I don't really know anything about him.
I mean, there's a lot of guys from back in the day. You could. Yeah, here we go. He says I wasn't either, but I saw a lot of his matches. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I agree. I think that a lot of people just kind of go back and watch old matches, old wrestling footage. Like, I mean, I did the same thing when I was a teenager. I went to a Jersey All Pro show and bought a tape that they flipped the red tab off the VHS tape so I can get the extended, like you could record not just the 2 hours but like 6 hours, and it was just like kind of like I remember thinking like this is one of the coolest things I've ever seen, to watch all of his matches with Tiger Mask, to watch his match with British Bulldog in Japan, like his match with Bret Hart when Bret Hart wore trunks, blue trunks, like just his matches in
Was
Stampede
this
Wrestling.
Dynamite?
Yeah, Dynamite. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean,
I
this
haven't
was
seen a
like
lot of his stuff either, but I understand that he's supposed to have been great.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, he was the champion for over 4,000 days. We would have had somebody would be breaking that record right now if Tony Khan could just do his job and keep, blonde hair, blue eyes over there. We wouldn't have he wouldn't be ruining the WWE championship right now. We would have had Roman would have broke the record. It would have been amazing.
If Roman was still champion now, I don't know that I'd still be watching.
That's fine. That's fine. I would set up a blow up doll of the talent right here, and I would do the podcast with a blow up doll. I would make sure
then you wouldn't have anyone to check you every time you're wrong. So that would be,
Well, I mean, that's just kind of one of those things. Like, you're definitely wrong about that because there's more about professional wrestling than the cruiserweight style by a guy who's clearly juiced out of the gills. Because he was as small as Orange Cassidy, and now he's bigger than MJF.
Oh my God! Now we're making accusations.
We're not making accusations. We're pointing out that he has a lot of pimples on his back he didn't have a couple years ago. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
I mean, that's. I don't know if that's a common trait or not. We could Google it. What's a common trait in professional wrestling? What wrestlers tend to have? I mean. It's just kind of one of them. But Eric Bischoff says that it shouldn't be illegal because it's like, actors get to use it to beef up for roles, and these are essentially actors. So
he's not wrong. That's
one guy literally got so juiced out of the gills that he took care of his family in the most worst way possible in an entire weekend,
and had nothing to do with steroids. But anyway,
I mean that's what they told us. It was steroids related.
That is what they told us. You are correct.
Yeah. So I mean, we don't know.
Ooh. Yeah, I saw. Real thriller going down here in Pittsburgh.
That's the second turnover in the red zone too. Like, man, today has just been a weird day for football. Just a weird day.
Really?
I mean, just a weird day. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of one of those things. But yeah, I mean, guys, thank you so much for tuning in for us. I mean, we have the Grizzly Canadian on Twitter. We have Lewis R826 on Twitter. Macho.
Are we not
Rodriguez
going Airport Chronicles tonight? Is that not what's happening?
No. I think we're starting to get. I think we're probably going to annoy our audience with the cutting out of the internet. So
okay.
But yeah, thank you so much, guys. We really appreciate all the interaction. This is the most fun show that we've had with everybody that we've,
It really was, yeah.
Yeah, it was awesome. Thank you guys so much. We appreciate you. And please come back on Tuesday night when we finish up the last 3 episodes. That'll be at 8:30. We will finish up the last 3 episodes of the McMahon doc. And
so since he cut out, we're supposed to have former Work in the Marks tandem of Patty Rican and Fernando Uribe on Tuesday night, assuming everyone's schedule works out.
Yeah. So far it looks like everybody's good to go.
Should be
as long as a hurricane doesn't take away the talent, we're good to go. So yeah,
I think we got about a day. We're about a day before that, so we should be safe.
Okay.
Maybe my farewell show, but
oh my
we'll
God,
see.
Don't say stupid shit like that. Fucking weirdo. Anyway, but yeah, thank you so much, guys. And until next time, we're out.